Welcome to the afternoon edition of JLR Sports Betting and Daily Fantasy. This is Joe Jocelevich alongside Len Martin. Len, how we doing today?
Good, man. Good Saturday. A lot of college basketball on, a lot of NBA, so we got some good stuff to talk about, mostly NBA. But, yeah, good night to bet.
No, absolutely. I was watching the game before, and of course, I was high on Alabama. You know what? They screwed me once already with Oklahoma. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's only one game. So we went back to the well today against Missouri, and man, they cannot get a rebound to save their souls. I mean, especially tournament time. If they run into a team that's heavy on the glass, I don't care what round it is, I'm definitely hopping on that other team because they could score fast and they could score quick, but they can't rebound. If they meet a good defensive unit, they're in trouble. But they bit me twice this year. I'm not going back to the well again with Alabama.
Yeah, I would hold off until football season, to be honest with
you. Yeah, no, I'm done with Alabama and all for the rest of the season. We're done. But so we already know how my parlay ended up, unfortunately. So if you watched the video this morning, I definitely apologize. But you know, we're here again, and that's why I played a game. And we're here again with some parlay options for this evening, as well as a fantasy team we're going to look into for DraftKings on the NBA side of things tonight. So we're going to open it up. Len, you have a parlay that we're going to take a look at for tonight?
Yeah, so we're using a FanDuel tonight. I like the alternate spread for a couple of the players. It's a 4-team parlay. And the first guy that I'm looking at is Demarcus Cousins, over 28.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I really like him because Wood is out with an injury, and whenever Demarcus Cousins steps in, he plays pretty big. He is a me guy, so he's going to shoot a lot of shots. He'll get a lot of rebounds, but he also does find the guys off the double team out of the post. So, I think 28.5 is a favorable number for him. I think he can get over that mark. How do you feel about Cousins tonight, Joe?
I feel really good about DeMarcus Cousins tonight. What was the number that you took him at? 28.5?
28.5.
28.5. Well, I have a parlay in as well, and I might as well cover this. Eduard DeMarcus Cousins. I have him a little higher than you. I have him at 32.5. So obviously, if I'm playing 32.5, I'm definitely confident in 28.5.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, with Wood out, he's definitely going to get his, and he's shown that in the last couple of games that Wood was out last week and 2 weeks ago. So, I think 28.5 is a favorable number, and I think 32.5 should get there as well. So, we'll see how he plays tonight, but I'm pretty confident in that. The next guy that we're going to go to is Sadius Young from the Chicago Bulls. What I like about him, they have a lot of injuries. The center is out tonight, and then you have Carter's out, the other backup center. And then Porter is also out. So you have 3 guys out. And if you looked at Young's numbers the last couple games, I mean, he's been putting up good fantasy numbers. And he's an all-across-the-board type guy. He's going to get points. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to get assists. So I got him at 24.5. And I think that's a pretty good number for him to get over. How do you feel about Young?
Again, this is another piece of my parlay. My personal parlay that we put tonight. I have Young at 27.5. Again, you got him a little lower than I did, but yeah, I mean, production's going to have to be there. He's been playing great in his past couple of games, and I expect that to continue. Orlando doesn't really pose that big. They're not really an elite defense, so it doesn't scare me away. 27.5 on a guy that should have high production and usage. We got to go to. So those numbers, they align, and yeah, I like to play. I'm playing it myself. So
awesome. The next game we have Alonzo Ball, over 21.5 alternate points, rebounds, and assists. If you look at the last couple of games, he's been playing pretty good. He's actually shooting the ball pretty well. So I think he's getting a little jealous of his little brother stepping in and really dominating in the league. So he's trying to shine a little bit himself. So I think 21.5 for a guy that could also light up the stat sheet is a pretty good number. How do you feel about Alonzo Ball?
Oh, well, I'll hold off on that for a minute, but we'll go to LeVar. You think he's ever going to get the game against Michael Jordan?
I don't think so.
Uh,
No, he's
I
gonna be
really
waiting a long time for that.
do.
Big baller
Oh,
brand, though, baby. Big
yeah,
baller
big,
brand.
big baller brand. Give me my $500 shoes.
Yep. I thought
But
those were the sandals or the slip-ons.
oh yeah, they're the slides. Excuse me, the
Yeah.
slides at 500. But on a serious note, we'll get to Alonzo Ball here. He's been playing pretty well, and I think the jealousy factor could be there. I mean, his brother is in the running for Rookie of the Year. It hasn't been a great year for Alonzo so far, but I think it's starting to piece together a little bit. The Pelicans they have the criteria to be a really good team. You have the players there, I believe. You have Brandon Ingram, you have Zion, and then Bledsoe hasn't really lived up to his potential this year, but I think that Alonzo is starting to come in and starting to play pretty well. So the number is low. So I mean, yeah, on a good night, he could put up a 50 burger in fantasy points. So yeah, I mean, what do you got? 19 and a half?
21 and a half.
21 and a half. So I like that number. It's low, and yeah, I can see him getting there.
Yeah, I mean, watching the last couple of games, they're doubling Zion, and Ingram's been a big part of the offense, so they're kind of shying away from Lonzo Ball. So, they're not really respecting his game, so I think he's going to get some extra shots. And, if the other team's going to lose the game, it's going to be in Lonzo Ball's hands. So as of right now, he's handling his own business. So, we'll see how he does tonight, but 21 and a half is a number I like. So we'll move on to the last leg of the parlay, and that is Draymond Green. I got him over 13 and a half. This is rebounds and assists. This is a guy where, he lights up the stat sheet. I mean, he had 11 points last game, but I stayed away from the points, rebounds, and assists because he is known for only scoring about 2, 4, 6 points. But he's a guy that's going to show up and grab you a bunch of boards. And he's got a guy that's, he's a draw dish to other guys that are open, and he's going to get his assist as well. So, I mean, I could see him having 7 rebounds, 7 assists at minimum. And, it could be a little bit different, but I think 13 and a half is a good play for a guy that got to fill in for a couple big guys that are out with Wiseman. And I know Paschal's pretty much questionable. So they have a couple guys that are out, and then Looney has an ankle injury. So he's going to step up, get some rebounds, and he had 15 assists the game previous. So I could definitely see him get over this mark. How do you feel about Draymond?
I feel really good about it. Feel really good about Draymond. Again, injuries are what we're looking at here, and he's gonna have to play. He's gonna have to play tonight. I expect maybe 30 minutes out of Draymond. The guy that can really do it all, as long as he doesn't get 2 technical fouls and get tossed from the game, I think we can get the number. I personally have 22 and a half points, rebounds, and assists because I think he can stuff the stat sheet. The game's on TV tonight too, so you always want to look good when you're playing on national TV. I think that they should have a pretty good showing. Curry probably got in his ear and said, hey, if we're going to win, you're going to have to start putting numbers up. So, and that wouldn't surprise me one bit. Obviously, Clay's not there. It'd be a different, like I said this before on a different podcast. If Clay was there, Draymond would be 100% better because Clay makes Draymond better. Steph makes Draymond better. Draymond is not a superstar, but when the spotlight's kind of off of him, he performs at a better level, I feel like, when the pressure's not on. So 22 and a half, again, is a very low number. It's national TV. I expect him to show up and play well. And again, we just went over, Thaddeus Young, Demarcus Cousins, and Draymond Green. That's 3 plays I have in my own parlay tonight. So, yeah, I like those plays a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at the last game, Aubrey, he stepped in and played like a Klay Thompson role, and that's how Draymond put those numbers up, So, yeah, when other guys around him shine, he just kind of sits in the back and he does his own thing, which makes the best out of him. So, if other guys could step up around him You know what I mean? He'll do his little parts to get grabbing rebounds and finding those guys, and he'll definitely get over that mark. But yeah, I put $6 wager on it to win about 31 some change. You could do a little bit more, you could do a little bit less, but the odds are plus 526 on a parlay that looks good on paper. We'll see what happens in the games tonight. What we'll do next is we'll move on to our fantasy aspect, and I'm going to let Joe take full advantage of this. He put this lineup in, and Joe, you want to start and tell everyone about your fantasy team tonight?
Yeah, actually, Len, before we go there, we already went over 3 legs in my parlay, so I'm just gonna complete it. I only have 2 legs left, so I might as well give the analysis what we have there. College hoops, it'll be 2 college games that I combined with those 3 player props from the NBA. So quickly, I went to the Tennessee-Kentucky matchup tonight. I put my money on Tennessee. I think both teams are struggling right now. However, I think Tennessee has an elite defense, and that's going to show up, even though it's on the road. It's going to have to show up because Tennessee, they're having trouble scoring the basketball. They're almost dead last in the SEC in scoring. So they're going to have to hold Kentucky. But I think, again, it's an elite defense. I expect a low-scoring game. I expect a close game, but I think Tennessee is going to pull it off in the end. So that's a straight-up pick. The second leg of that is going to be Virginia. We went to the Virginia-Pittsburgh game. Virginia, they're back on their home floor. They play very well at home. An elite defense. You're talking one, if not the best defense in the country, going up against Pitt. Pitt just doesn't have the offensive weapons to crack that defense. Like I said, it's very elite. I took them at -5.5. The original line was 10. I teased it down. I believe it's at 10.5 right now. So 5.5, -5.5. Virginia over Pittsburgh today. So combine that with, again, what we talked about before with Sadius Young and Demarcus Cousins and Draymond Green. I believe this was, I put $10. It's over $100 winner. So if you're going to put 10 on it, you're getting over $100 profit back. So it's almost 10 times your money. So with that said, we'll move on now to the fantasy aspect of our show. And that's going to be the 5-game turbo portion of the NBA tonight. So on DraftKings, turbo. And we're going to set the point guard position with Kyle Lowry. They got a matchup tonight with Atlanta. I know they played last night, but Lowry's really playing good basketball lately. He came off a performance last night where he had 30 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 51.8 DraftKings points. The outing before that, another 43.1 on an 18-point, 8 assist, 6 rebound game. Before that, I believe, what did we have? We had 39 DraftKings points. So he's playing very well. With him and Van Fleet, they're a really good duo, and they're definitely both a threat for scoring. Well, we're going to go with Lowry here because I think, again, he's starting to play consistent basketball. And I look for consistency over just spurts, kind of. So we're going to go with Lowry. Now, if you wanted to play Van Fleet, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. But for me, I'm going with Lowry. We're going to a shooting guard position, and probably the chalkiest play of the night, but I want to own it. It's going to be James Harden. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Lowry, his salary there was $8,000. So, but we're going here with at shooting guard, we're going to go with the salary James Harden for $10,700. No Kevin Durant, no Kyrie Irving tonight. Harden's going to have to be the man. This is the game where I can see James Harden shooting the ball like 30 times. Triple-double capability, too, because he's going to have to create for the other guys. Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, Joe Harris. So the other guys, he's going to have to open up opportunities for them as well. But I think it's going to be a really chalky play, but you got to have him in your lineup, especially in a 50-50 cash, because he's going to be chalk. We're going to move on from James Harden. We're going to go to what I mentioned before, Bruce Brown. Again, no Kevin Durant, no Kyrie Irving. Bruce Brown's a guy that can get you at 30 points, 30 DraftKings points, if not higher. He had 25 DraftKings points last time out. He had 13 points to go along with 6 rebounds and 2 assists. It's going to have to step it up. Now, it's not going to be an easy matchup. I mean, Philadelphia, and I said this before, once Brooklyn, I don't care how much firepower they have, once they get a team that could play some lockdown D and the Sixers can play some defense, they're going to struggle. So, but for me, I mean, with Durant and Irving out, you have to have production coming from. It's not going to be Harden. It can't be all Harden. And you're going to have to get other production from other players. So Bruce Brown, I like, especially for the price point. His price point is only $3,500. So, I mean, that's probably going to be another chalky play tonight. But, I mean, for $3,500, we got to take the gamble there. Or not even the gamble. You just got to take the chalk. Next up at the power forward position, we're going to dip into the Minnesota Oklahoma City game. We're going to go with Isaiah Roby. Now, I expect I play this with the expectation that Al Horford does not play tonight. I know Oklahoma City's banged up and they have a lot of injuries, but still, I don't think Horford's going to play a back-to-back. Roby, on the other hand, 34.3 DraftKings points last time out. He had 11 points to go along with 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 3 blocks and 3 steals. So it was a complete game. You're not going to get that every time out from Roby, of course. But, if he can hit that 25 DraftKings points, and if he gets the minutes, Minnesota, no Anthony Towns. There's no real post presence. So, I mean, Roby, I think, could eat, and he can go for 25 to 30. Obviously, the last time out, he had 34. So, I mean, this is a great opportunity. 2 teams that are really banged up. So you got to just, duck and weave and take your chances on, especially a low salary. You're looking at only 3,700. So it's a little, just weeding out where we can get some value, So for 3,700, I like Roby. I'm going to go with a man in the middle, the center position, and we both played him tonight. And for player props for our parlays, and Demarcus Cousins is when Christian Wood does not play, this guy is lights out. He still has that big game potential where he can put up massive numbers. I expect that tonight. They're playing the Spurs. The Spurs, a mid-pack defense. They're battling their own injuries. DeJuan Murray might not play tonight. LaMarcus Aldridge is out. So they're a little shorthanded. They're banged up. Rudy Gay, not as good as he used to be, getting up there in age. But, DeMarcus Cousins, I expect big numbers out of him tonight, anywhere from 40 to 50 DraftKings points. The guy can put up 60 on some nights. But, again, I just like the matchup. The price point, 6,300 on a guy who has 50-point potential is a must play. And, again, that's going to be chalk, I believe, too, tonight, especially only on a 5-game slate. Or a 5-game turbo. We'll move on from Cousins. We're going to go down, and we're going to stick in that game. We're going to go to Derek White. Derek White is 4,700 tonight on DraftKings. Since coming back from his injury, he's been playing pretty well. Last time out, he had 27.5 DraftKings points on 10 points to go along with 2 rebounds and 8 assists. He had a block. Again, DeJuan Murray might not play tonight. So if he doesn't play tonight, the minutes are going to go to Derek White. And if the minutes go to Derek White, I expect his play to be a great play with upside for 40. Upside for 40 tonight, I think. Between him and DeRozan's going to have to pick up the scoring tonight, especially with, Aldridge and especially if Murray don't play. So, again, a White is a great play tonight in a game where I expect there are points to be had. I think that both teams will crack 100. I don't think it's going to be a defensive struggle. Both teams definitely not elite defense. So, again, we want a couple pieces, and we got our pieces with DeMarcus Cousins. We're running back with Derek White. Next play, we're going to go to the forward position, and I went back to the Brooklyn game. This should not be a popular play tonight, especially if Embiid plays, because it's just a horrible matchup. But we're going to go with Jeff Green at 5,200. And it boils down to what, my first 2 plays from that game. You have no Durant, you have no Irving. So the production has to spread out. Jeff Green's a starter playing 30 minutes a game. And, they're going to have to look to other areas for scoring opportunities. And again, it's not the greatest matchups with Philadelphia, but if the game goes up and down, it does. I mean, this is a great play, 5,200. You combine that. I mean, you're stacking Harden, you're going to stack Brown, you're going to stack Green. They're 3 starters, so they're all going to play starter minutes. So if the production's there, this is a great play. But again, the matchup, especially if Embiid plays, is not a great matchup. So I don't expect that to be chalk tonight. We're going to move on and go down to, last but not least, we got the utility position, a guy who's playing really good basketball. We're going to go with Pascal Siakam at 7,700. He just came off an enormous game, a monster game. He had 65.3 DraftKings points on 33 points to go along with 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block. He had 3 steals. He really had himself a game. I know this because they cost me my parlay that I could have cashed in $130. But again, the matchups with Atlanta, I expect points to be had in this game. Both teams well over 100 points. I do not see a defensive struggle. Atlanta plays semi-good defense, but again, nothing to deterred me from playing this. You have a stack with Lowry and Siakam. Easily can get you 80 with upside for 100 between them two. So, especially if Trae Young and Capella play well tonight and they just trade buckets and go back and forth, which I could see this game doing because, like I said, both of these teams are mid-pack D. They don't play really fantastic D. Atlanta, a little better defensive club than Toronto, but I expect points to be had. And Siakam, again, for the price point, a guy who just is tearing it up. I mean, at 65, like I said last time out. Before that, 43 and 40 DraftKings points. So the guy's playing very well. And Toronto's going to have to play well because they were struggling there for a little bit, but it seems like they got shit going in the right direction. So we're going to go roll with Siakam, and that's going to round up our lineup. What do you think, LM?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Breaking it down with Lowry and Siakam, they've been playing pretty good. They're kind of bringing back them old selves without, Leonard there anymore. So pretty much they're going back to how they used to play. Before they had like that huge superstar. They were still a contender. So I'm happy to see them coming back, and they're a team that should be top 5 in the Eastern Division, and they're starting to put together a little bit here and there. Like you were talking about with the Brooklyn Sixers game, not a favorable matchup for Harden, Brown, and Green, but you got to play them. If they could turn into a track meet, the game could get interesting. All you want is just the game to be close, no blowout. They play their 30, 35 minutes and they get their points. In a blowout, they might go to the bench a little bit more and, they might not put up the numbers, but just try to keep the game close. And I think they could reach their mark. Roby, he started last game, even with the other center starting, So everybody was kind of out there. So you had Alexander, who's still questionable, So if he doesn't play tonight, Roby might get a couple extra shots at the basket. It all depends on Horford. If he's out, then he's definitely going to be in the starting lineup. But even if he is in, Roby still might get some time and get some opportunity to score. And like you said, Cousins is a guy that is a must play. Whenever Wood's out, they got to definitely go to him. He's the big guy. And I think he'll definitely get probably about that 45 to 50 fantasy points at minimum tonight. And I do like White, especially if Murray's out, because I've been following him a little bit, and I saw he's coming back and he's starting to get into the swing of things. And, if Murray does sit out tonight, I think White is a potential, diamond in the rough that could give you, maybe his best outing of the season just because, he just came back off an injury. So, we'll put it in. We'll see, how it fares off, and hopefully, we could double our money. But the lineup on paper does look good.
Yeah, another thing to go with the White pick is, Patty Mills is there, but I don't see Patty Mills playing like 30 minutes a game, White is going to be the guy. I strongly believe White's going to be the guy. So, I mean, that makes that play even better. Like I said, if Murray doesn't play. Now, if Murray plays, who's to say he's 100%? How many minutes? And Greg Popovich for me, is notorious for just splitting minutes. No one gets really heavy minutes on the Spurs,
No, I totally agree. I mean, like I said, we'll put the lineup in. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we need, especially in that Sixers game, the game to maintain a close range of points. And if everybody plays their minutes that they're supposed to, I think this could be a potential winner and, double our money.
No, absolutely. And just a reminder, we're going to have a Super Bowl show tomorrow. It's going to be around 12:30. We're going to have a lot of special guests, and they're going to be breaking down their prop bets, their parlays, and their straight up picks. They're going to give us their analysis, and it's always good to hear other voices chime in and just give us their analysis and picks. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to tomorrow. And, with that said, if you play any of our picks, like we always say, if you play any of our content, whether it be lineups or parlays, good luck and enjoy. I mean, on the Northeast, it's cold, so it's a good day to be sitting around, lounging around, sweats and a sweatshirt and just, cracking a beer or two and watching the games.
Yeah, and I mean, do look at our Facebook page, JLR Sports Betting. Joe actually put up one of my bets that I have today, and it has a potential to hit right now. I hit 2 out of 5, and the other 3 are literally lined up for glory. So we'll see what happens. So always check out, we post our picks on Facebook, and, hopefully we have potential winners on there where you guys can jump in, put that parlay in, and hopefully we could all win together.
Absolutely. 100%. We're looking to win together, and, it's always good to hit a winner, but it's always better to hear, oh yeah, we played your stuff last night and, we won too. So, that's makes it 10 times better. So with that said, everybody have a great day and enjoy.